Hello YouTube. This is going to be a video, or at least an attempt of a video, to replace the passenger side dual air door actuator. The passenger side air is stuck on cold, and I've seen videos where to access the actuator, which is up here, you have to roll the entire dash backwards. So what we're going to do today is take off a couple of these components and try to access it through the passenger side air vent. So stick with me and let's see how this goes. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to pop the hood and disconnect the negative battery terminal. Remember, safety first. Back inside the cab, we're going to use a flathead screwdriver to pop the speaker cover off, which is held by 4 tabs. From there, you have 2 bolts in the front, 7mm. We're going to go ahead and take those out. Once you remove both 1 and 2 of the 7mm mounting bolts, you're then going to, again, using a protective piece of tape here to pry out your 3 tabs that are right there, and the back will be free floating. And once you pop out the tabs, you can remove this and pull it right up, and then disconnecting the connector for the back side of your speaker. Once the top tray and speaker are removed, then you're going to have 2, again, 7mm bolts to remove, and thus allowing you to remove the fascia of the center console. Let's get to it. Once the 2 7mm bolts have been removed, placing your thumb to support your pull on your passenger side air, slowly pull back the corners 1 and 2, and at that point you'll feel the first tabs start to release. Continue to slowly pull as eventually these tabs will give, releasing your entire dash panel. The removal of the center dashboard fascia board will be completed by removing 2 connectors by pressing on the tabs located on the bottom of the connectors. You'll have 2 additional connectors on top of the center dashboard, but I'm leaving those connected just because we're able to get that out of the way for the area that we're trying to access. Now, on to the next one. In specific XLT models, Lariat models, King Ranch, and Platinum editions, to gain access and to remove this panel, you will have to unscrew these 2 7mm bolts that will bring this off, thus releasing the track that's going to hold this piece in. So we'll go ahead and take that out now. So after slowly popping off the clips from this mechanism and working a flathead screwdriver down the edges to continue to pop that out, I did realize that we're going to have a clearance issue here with the center console. So to get this entire piece off, if you want to completely remove it, you'll want to put your vehicle in neutral and make sure your parking brake's on. That way you can completely lift this up and out of the way. But for our purposes and just needing a little bit of clearance here, I'm going to leave the vehicle in park, and with the screwdriver I'm going to pop this tab here, slowly lifting this up and pulling back, which will release tabs that have here and allowing us to gain access and get this out of the way. With just a couple of pops here on the side, holding both sides to support the whole structure, it will lift and come back and give us just enough space to get this out of the way. Once that's free and clear, we'll disconnect the connector in the back and we'll have access to the vent port. Alright, and see the little red tabs right there, just past that bar. That's what we're after. Alright guys, so that's what we're looking at here. From previous videos it showed some of the processes, not the other. We're going to push that red tab back and press down to remove that connector. And then that mechanism is going to be held down by 2 Torx screws. Okay guys, so we were able to get that connector loose. You're going to push the red mechanism on top of the connector back, and then press down and pushing the connector away from you, which will dislodge it from the controller there. All right, y'all. So it is definitely cramped for space in here.
But what I've done is I have gotten on the first screw, and we are unscrewing it. And I just put my ratchet in there backwards and squeeze your hand in there. So we'll get after this one, then get after the back one, and we should be able to remove the mechanism. All right, guys, so we did in fact get the old one out. The new one's right over here. Before putting that in, make sure that you're lined up with the opening of the gears with the arrow right there. It'll sit in the mechanism just like that. All right, y'all, believe it or not, we actually got that thing out, got the new one put in, got the screws put back in. I'm getting ready to reset that connector, but I just wanted to give you guys a look at when y'all do this, what you're gonna be looking at for the duration of about an hour, you know, from start to finish. And I also found that instead of using a ratchet or anything like that, little 5-star key right there, and just you can unscrew and rescrew this with your hand. So highly recommend that, but you're gonna be in some tight quarters here, but I believe we got her done. All right, guys, so it's in. Go ahead, replace your panel, reconnect your connectors, and we're gonna slide your console cover in place, finish with the paneling, and then I'm gonna plug in our front console to the air control connectors, and we're gonna try this thing out. All right, YouTube, so we got everything back together. We have hot and cold air flowing out from both of the sections of the vehicle, which is very nice for my wife, who rides shotgun with me quite a bit. So, you know, this whole thing's gonna take you about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours max. You don't need any crazy tools. I literally used a flathead screwdriver to just assist with leverage on removing some of the face pieces. 7mm for multiple screws throughout. You're gonna need a 5-star screw to remove the 2 screws that are actually holding the controller. This is the old one. Obviously the gears, they're locked up and they're not lined up with the arrow, which the new one is. So when you do go to put the new one in, you'll there's a little cam that's in there, and I'm sorry I didn't show you all this process, but essentially you just set that to a medium position within there. You'll be able to see the pattern with the stars, with the gears and with the cam that's in there. You just sit it right on top. It'll sit down nice and neatly, and it'll sit within your holding pins, and then it'll line up with your screw holes. It's saved apparently a lot of time and a lot of money. So I highly recommend doing this versus taking it to Ford. Apparently they'll charge you at least 8 hours for labor. And this was a lot easier to do, and I'm not a mechanic by any means. I have very simple montage of tools, but we got it done. So hope this video helps, and until next time, have a good one.